settle in so we can start with the question.
You can just ask by audio then.
You can, okay. Greetings to Master. Thanks for the teaching, for teaching us this level. Each of our organs has a different frequency. When I do the merging technique, I can feel the pain from the affected organ. This is a sign that the organ is ill or lacking energy. Can you explain me how can I change the structure of an afflicted organ so it can be healed? And this is the next question. I am teaching basic level. My question is if you are going to continue to transfer energy on Sundays as usual, are you going to give us the authorization in this level at 100%? Thank you, Master.
The reason I advise for you to practice the travel to space, you receive the light of God aura 2 seconds, and you send to the organs in your body. That each time when you practice, as you practice, you transfer energy. That is through your practice. There is no limit. You can transfer energy to the organs many times as you practice. But when you are sick, then you can only heal yourself one time. If that organ has a severe problem, you transfer energy 9 times to that organ. Listen carefully. So when you have a problem, then you transfer energy 9 times to the organ. When you practice, you receive the light of God aura 2 seconds, send 3 seconds. This student, as you mentioned, I want to share with all of you. Any organ that you transfer energy, you feel discomfort, you feel the pain, then you don't worry. Slowly, as you transfer energy, as you practice, you gradually can help this organ to have the sufficient energy, and that organ can recover from sickness, and you will not feel the pain anymore. So you listen carefully. That is the purpose. First, you are helping your body as you can transform into energy easily. Secondly, you are helping this weak organ so that it has enough energy through your practice, and you are able to practice the travel out of space easier. That is the first part I share with you. Now you listen carefully. I have the changes, but with the same purpose. On Sunday in Asia, that is 12 noon in Vietnam and Thailand, they have a lot of students. So 12 o'clock at noon on Sunday in Thailand and 12 noon in Vietnam. If you have your family members, as you travel to Vietnam or you travel to Thailand, then at exactly 12 noon, after you teach, you tell the student to place their hand on chakra 6 and 7 for 5 minutes. Then they can have the chakra open 100% from 12:05 to 12:10 at noon. Local time in Asia, from Thailand and Vietnam, then they can receive the energy from the level 4 or to the higher levels. And in Europe, all of you in Europe, you can base on 9 p.m. in Melbourne. And 9 p.m. and there are 2 times. That first, in the summertime, that would be 1 p.m. for you in Europe. Listen carefully. Or in the winter time in Europe, that would be 11 a.m. in Europe for the winter time. So you can base on these 2. My point is when there is a time change in the winter time in Europe, it will be 11 a.m. or in the summertime in Europe, that would be 9 p.m. Melbourne time. So in the summer or in the winter time, you just base according to the time change, so you can receive the energy transfer from 12 to 12:05 at noon. I tell the student to place their hand on the chakra 6 and 7, and then after that they can place their hand down from from 11 to 11:05 to 11:10 in Europe. So in Europe, in summary, if you forget about the time in your local time, you can just base on 9 p.m. in Melbourne time and you calculate out in your local time for Europe. For Europe, you can just base on Paris time. That is easier because the neighboring region, perhaps in Russia or the region, the time difference, or in England, the time difference. So you can base 9 p.m. In Melbourne time. Then you can use that to calculate out the time in Paris. So that is the best for you. So there's two ways. In the summertime, it is 1 p.m. in Paris time. And in the winter time, it is 11 a.m. in Paris time. Then you can base on that. Then you can receive the energy transfer. In South America, I want to use New York time, 12 noon on Sunday in New York. Then you can base on 12 noon. Over here, I'll calculate my time. So in summary, on Sunday, 12 noon in Thailand and 12 noon in New York. From 12 to 12:05, that is the chakra opening 100%. 12:05 to 12:10. Then I transfer energy from level 4 up to level 13 plus. In Europe, the time is a little different. You can base on the right time. So you can help the students as you teach them, so they can receive the energy, so they can practice. That is a general guideline. So it is easy for you to calculate the time in Asia, in America, in South America, and in Europe. Now in the level 19, you cannot open chakras 100%, except you are here in person with me, I'll teach you. However, recently, I want to share with you. So now you can try to practice. So when you come to learn the level 20 first, you can open chakra 100% one time, and you don't have to teach them on open chakra 30% or 60%. You can open chakra 100% and transfer energy level 4. And as you are used to it, you have more experience in teaching, and I will continue to allow you to teach level 5 and higher. That will be in the future when you come to the level 20. However, so now you have to prepare, meaning you audit, you are the auditor in here, level 20. You have to audit the class that are offered by other centers. For example, you are the level 20 student, the center in Brazil. You can come to the center or the sub-center in Brazil. So you audit from the level 3 to level 5. So you are used to how it's conducted. You come to audit at least 2 or 3 times. As the center Brazil will send you a confirmation letter that you have been audited 2 or 3 times. As you know how to conduct the level 3, 4, or 5, so that you would officially, as I allow you to teach level 3, 4, and 5, now you can, with the condition that in the past until now you did not teach, you don't know how to teach. So you have to come to audit the class. You have to learn from the document as you audit, so that you know how to conduct the class. However, there are a number of students from the past until now, they have been teaching the level 3, 4, and 5, but they could not open the chakras 100%. Listen carefully. So, for the instructor that had been teaching level 3, 4, and you can come and you can open chakra for them, but you could not teach because you don't know how to teach. So these are the 2 cases that I want to explain for you. The first case, you want to teach level 3, 4, and 5 in the future, then you have to audit at least 2 or 3 times, so that you know the technique how to conduct the class at level 3, 4, and 5. In the second case, I want to help a number of you that you don't have to wait for a long time. Instead of waiting for Sunday to have the chakra open or to receive the level 4 net energy transfer, but if on a weekday especially for those who are a level 20 student, and when you're free during the weekdays, as the instructor was able to teach. So this instructor, after they conducted the class, you can come there. You can tell the student to place on chakra 6 and 7, and you can open chakra 100% for them. And then you tell them to place the hand down, and you transfer energy level 4 for them. These are a level 20 student that you already have all the document, and according to the right technique so that you are able to apply. If you want to teach, then you have to at least audit 2 or 3 times. That is my general guideline for all of you, so you know and you understand. Now go on, next question.
Chile. I can hardly hear you. Are you talking to us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, we wait for you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Dear Master, the question is as follows. The toxic air that comes from the eyes is this air from souls
Please
that
speak very
were
slow
trapped?
because your audio is cutting. I don't know why. Hold on 1 second, because we didn't hear anything yet. Okay, Chile, mute. Everybody mute, please, because this is causing the cutting. Testing, mute. Okay, Aruba, you want to try again?
Okay. Dear Master, the toxic air that comes from the iceberg, is this air the souls that are trapped in the icebergs? And when it melts, they also spread in the air? Could you please talk more about these toxins? And there is confusion between souls. Are there good or bad souls? Could you please elaborate? Thank you.
Now you listen carefully. The soul, nobody can trap the soul except the sorcerer. The soul is not so free to stop in being trapped in the iceberg. I want to say clearer for you because you don't understand, or you don't understand as much. So I point out for you. From 1960s, from 1945 until now, we calculate more or less 62 years until now. Listen carefully. 62 years on Earth, that in the 20th century, preparing for the 21st century, all the atomic, nuclear waste, where do they throw them? Where do they throw them? You think about it. If you don't want to know now, I pointed out for you, and if you don't want to know, then there's nothing for me to explain. In here, this is not magic. We put all this toxic on Earth. Now on Earth, where do we throw all of this toxic that doesn't cause any contamination, for pollution? We throw them all in the iceberg. They contain all of this chemical nuclear radiation. Now they are into vapor, into the air. That is cause us to die. Can you understand it now? Now I just point straight for you, and if you don't understand, then there's no more for me to say. You don't want to know, I share with you so you know, and now as you know it. It is not as on the iceberg, also underground. They bury underground, nobody knows. And for one country, because of money, they take it and bury underground. And that people and that land will suffer. We don't know what country. As I mentioned, I do not want to say any country. Even if I know, I would not dare to say it. I just say that you put all this toxic that we bury in the mind. As we develop all of this nuclear and all this toxic waste that is causing problem to us. We blame it on plastic. That is nothing. My God, it is so easy. I'm not a scientist. We need to have that wisdom. We have wisdom. We know about this. How many tons of plastics? How many tons of this in terms of pollution from the air? Only 2 grams that can kill 7 million Now, even a million cars tire from the car will not pollute. It's not even 2 gram in the ozone that causes the ozone layer. And the sunlight, that is the fake one. That is secondary. That is a way that they hide. I'm not a scientist. As you know, Master Dang is not a scientist. And Master Dang point out this thing for you. And in recent months in America, they said about the UFO with the powerful energy. If a UFO land on Earth and that area, it is still safe. And they say the alien come and then they kidnap these people. That is just science fiction for children to see. But they broadcast all over the world. And people still think it is real. All of this they can do. These are all just fiction. Once they have it, meaning they are preparing the mind for the people in the world, for the 5th human race. No matter how good you are, but as I point this out for you, I'm not a scientist. You are not a scientist. We are not a scientist, but we can see this and we know it. We know which one is real, which one is not. The real one we can help, the fake one we cannot. The fake one, how can you help it? Because there's nothing. So now as you ask, I pointed out for you, it's not the soul that is trapped in the iceberg and then the soul come out. That is the sorcerer task. I just share for you. Try to understand this. If I say like that, if you don't understand, then there's no more I can say. So the soul, good and bad, do not think like that. Now, do you ever say that God is either good or bad? But all the books from the past until now, from the 5th human race until now, we say that from the East. I just share with you. Buddha is high at 10, and the evil is 9. But the devil and as well as Buddha, they're all children of God. Because of the level, the humankind is so low. The devil, do you know that the devil is in fact the children of God? Because you do not see it, but if you really see, Satan is also the son of God. I'm not contradicting, according to the Bible. Including all of this, even your hair is created by God. The ghost is created by God. So if you curse at the ghost or the devil indirectly, you are cursing at God. Because God created all of the living creature, including your hair, is created by God. Everything is created by God. The devil and the ghost are created by God. If you curse at the devil, you curse at Satan, then they're all children of God. You are cursing God. As you said, I just reminded for you. You are cursing the devil and ghosts, and you know who they are, who created them on earth. The ghosts and the devil who make them, they do not just come from underground, or they just come from heaven and say they are the devil. The 5th human race, that's who we are. We cannot blame. The 1st to the 4th human race with wisdom and enlightenment, and they still violate. So for us, as we violate, because we do not know. We do not know, and even if we know, and we still do the same. So in summary, whether we know or we do not know, these are the means for us to learn from low to high, from bad to good. From low to high, so that we can have wisdom and enlightenment. Once we have wisdom and enlightenment, as we know to help, doesn't mean that we know so that we can criticize one is good or bad. So you're wrong in doing so. Listen carefully. To know, to help. When they need us, we help them. If they do not need us, then we cannot help. Listen carefully. When they need the drugs, do not give it to them. Because when they drink, they get healed and they curse at your family, and your family is innocent. For that reason, do not let them drink the EWE garlic water. In the case of EWE water to drink, when they drink, they feel better, they don't say anything, but when they have some sickness and they say this contains bacteria or virus, when they heal and they feel shame. So why should you help them? They cause problem and they curse at your parents or grandparents. You help them and suddenly they turn around and curse at you. So unintentionally, you're causing problem to your ancestor because they are being cursed at. You are not a normal person. You are not a Buddha. How can you forgive them as they curse at your family? When they curse at your parents or grandparents, they are innocent. Why should you let them curse at your parents or grandparents? I explained for you on that point. The Bible has mentioned clearly that your hair is created by God. And God created all of this scenario, and you turn and curse. You do not dare to curse at God, but these are all children of God. Do you dare to curse at them? You tell them they are the devil. Sometimes when you are cursing or you are angry, sometimes when you love, you say that you are the devil. You know how so the devil, you love them. You keep on cursing at them as the devil because you love. In Vietnamese, they say sometimes they even though they try to yell, but because of their love. So the human, in that sense, how can they have wisdom? How can they be enlightened? I tell you the truth. The fifth human race, we are. Even if we read a billion books, we're still the same. Whenever it is not appropriate with you, then you turn around and curse. That is so strange. That is very strange. You are clever, you curse at others, but you don't dare to curse at yourself. It is so strange. You rarely curse at yourself. So the men, we are at loss. From the West, I don't know, but from the East, the men, they always have to be at loss. From the Chinese, the Vietnamese, and other countries where I know the Chinese and the Vietnamese, they are lost 100% because they only curse at the grandfather and grandmother. And they have no business. And then their son is doing causing a problem, but you're cursing at the grandmother. And they don't say the grandmother or the mother. So that's why the mother, the man, they're always at loss. They're always cursing at the fathers on the father's side because of the king always cursing at the grandmother. Supposedly the woman, but always the men they're at loss. My God, I don't know if you understand it. I just share with you on that point, on that in the human world, but you cannot blame them. From the past until now, the books only show in one way, always on the positive one, never on the opposite one, because on the opposite side you don't listen. That's why it's only on one way. Right or wrong, they go only one way. Right and wrong, they only go in one direction. That is one of the greatest error in the humankind. From the past 200,000 years until now. That is how I share with you, so you can understand. In fact, the humankind on earth, we all believe in the deities, but then we believe blindly. Just listen to others and then you follow them. But you do not really know the influence, the effect, how you can have true faith. And how you can express less faith. Most of the people, we have less faith. You just do all the sign and praying. Whatever they say, do it, you just follow, just like that, just like a parrot. But you don't even understand what you are saying. If you're understanding the prayer, then you have wisdom, enlightenment, then you would not have chaos in the human world. One side they tell you to believe in the deities, and the other side they go against the teaching of the deities. Now I'll give you an example. This is a real one. The Virgin Mary, most of the Catholics, they believe, I'm not saying 100%, but at least 90 to 95% they believe. The Christian, they believe in Mary and Jesus. For those of you who are Christian, you believe. I said 95%, but at least 100% for those of you who give up your religion. And you always, as you are Christian, you believe in the Virgin Mary, and you praise Buddha and Mary. That is in this world. The scientists, there are no exception. Is that right? These are top scientists on earth. They are Christians. I'm sharing on this aspect. They believe in Jesus and Mary, and to pray to Mary to bless them. And they go to the medical school. They said that a man without a woman, you cannot give birth. Without the sperm, and a woman cannot give birth. Without the sperm, they cannot give birth. And the student asked, in the case of the Virgin Mary without the husband, how come she gave birth? And then they cannot answer. Sometimes the student asks them, they cannot answer. I said, how come you said the man with male sperm, a woman need the sperm, but about 2,000 years ago, the Virgin Mary giving birth to Jesus Christ, and what had happened? He said, I have to look at the book again. They cannot answer. You tell them to believe and tell them not to believe. And when they ask and they are stuck, they don't dare to say that they don't exist. Otherwise, they lose the professorship and become a normal citizen. So they said that just to give them excuses. They soon asked, they said it is because this of God. They said it is God, but how come you say not to believe and you say that you have to believe in this and don't believe in that? So they keep on asking like that. They got stuck. In fact, they said that if they deny it, they may lose their professorship. So they have to agree, even though they know it isn't, but they have to say there is. So that's why they are contradicting themselves in the human life. Why? So you can learn, so you can evolve. For the past few days, as I teach you, this world, it is fake. Buddha have said it very profoundly. They can fake everything in this world. You don't believe everything is real. They say everything is real, but Buddha, 25th century, says everything is fake. Why? From the moment of birth, you don't have any asset, and then you have the asset, and then at the moment of death, you live and without anything. So when you're born, you don't have any wealth, and then at the moment of death, you cannot bring any with you. But nobody listened, including the most loyal disciple of Buddha. He would not listen. Then his own disciple would not listen to that. If the disciple of Buddha listened, then they would not have any struggle among the Buddhists. The rich fighting against the poor. Only in that you can see the yin and yang, as you mentioned about it. The yin and yang, they have the duality, right, wrong, black, white, in unity, and then they have power and greed. And only in zero, there's nothing. Zero means nothingness. But then it can create everything. Therefore, I tell you, you learn all the lessons. You spend the time and effort to learn the fake one, to learn to fail in order to succeed. When you come to the level 16, to succeed meaning this fake body you can transform into energy which is real. That is the focus that I explained for you. So you have the chance to learn and progress. So you know and you understand. As you understand, as you know, then you are able to help to be more effective. We use the truth in order to help the fake world. In the past, we used the fake to help the fake, and it was wrong. It's not effective. Now we use the real to help the fake. And that is what God had given to us, because if God did not give us this truth, then we'll continue to use the fake to help the fake. As we use the fake to help the fake, it is temporal, it has nothing. So I just say that it is sufficient. Now we go on to the next question.
Okay, we try. Okay, Venezuela, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Dear Master, we used to do energy transfer through our chakra 6 since the level 5.1. Now we have to merge with a person, a country. Is it the same? Do we feel the same?
We have something interfering. Lisita, can you repeat?
It's okay now.
Yes, sure. Dear Master, to help, before we used to do energy transfer through our chakra 6 since the level 5.1. Now we have to merge with a person, a country. Is it the same thing? Do we feel the same sensation? What is the sensation? What do we have to feel? What it is exactly when we merge? Is it just a thought with the chakra 6? Could you explain more about what we have to feel when we merge? Also, what is exactly illumination? And the second part of the question is, I am a doctor, a pediatrician, and I am trying to investigate more about autism. There is more and more children affected from autism. What is happening? What is the spiritual explanation of this illness where the child is isolated from the family? You know what I mean by autism? Vous?
Yes.
Autism, okay? Thank you, Vu.
Now, through your question, as you asked from the field of medicine, I want to share with you my experience. And with my experience, I give you a general reminder as I learned from a deity to help to solve your deadlock in order to help you in your own profession so you can contribute to help other people. In the case of merging, from the time when you learn the level 5.1, I always advise for you to use your chakra 6 to focus on one point in a way that your brain, that I have taught to you about the combination of the pineal and pituitary gland, when you can focus without any distraction, just like this yogi master when they are in a meditated state. Why? So that you can generate the hormone inside your body to help the body with the strong immune and also to prevent from illness. For others, they may be able to prevent less, but for you, you are able to prevent more and you can sustain your health more. In parallel to that, when you learn in a level of 5.1, you know how to use chakra 6. In level 6, you know how to practice. In a way, you are able to meditate further. In level 7, you can practice with the antenna models to practice. These are the means I allowed you in a way for you to reach that superb state of meditation in order to combine with the combined frequency to merge with the universe, to merge with the deities from a spiritual aspect. These are the means. They are very precious. That a number of you who thought that it is so ordinary, it is not. These are the ones that can help you to progress further on a spiritual path. As you learn higher, you are able to use more in your thought. As you think and it's there, it travels equal or faster than the speed of light that I have trained you from the time when you were in level 5.1. To use universal energy to transfer to unlimited distance without any interference from any energy in the universe. And the scientists in a three-dimensional world, they research about other dimensions in space. When they send the satellite out to space, they always have interference. That is in the field of science, that the scientists on Earth, as they research in a three-dimensional world, they are stuck. But you and me, we are not the scientists. However, we learn the formula from the deities. As we know how to use universal energy, we can send from point A to point Z without any restriction, without any interference of the energy. That is the effectiveness as the deities who gave the mission, who chose our physical body and sent a higher soul to our body so that we can carry out with everything that I have just mentioned to you. That is how I explain for you about the chakra 6. In the case of merging, from the past until now, we can never see a living person who can merge to the dead. Listen carefully. And the living merging to the living. Never. Except only the sorcerer who practices black magic, who has the capacity, he can control, according to the energy, he can only control the lower soul, the wandering soul. If the soul of the king or the queen, they cannot. The leaders of the world, they cannot. Those powerful people, they cannot. The billionaires, they cannot. If the sorcerer who has the ability to do that, then they can possess to the house of all of the wealthy people, and they would give them all the money, but they are still poor. Sometimes the sorcerer doesn't have enough money to eat, so his talent is not as good. Only for the smaller soul, those who do not know the lower soul, the higher soul, In the case at your soul only at the level 3, the sorcerer, if he want to set the soul to come to cause problem to you, it's so difficult for him. And when you are in a level 7, it is even harder, and he cannot do it. That is how I explain for you, so you can understand. These are the soul by the air, by the energy that can merge. But for us, in a normal sense, you and me, we cannot merge to anyone. You merge to the living and you die, and you merge to the dead person, you die faster. And if you try to help another soul to leave the body, and you also die faster. Before you even help, you die. Therefore, the reason I advise for you and I show you the technique to merge, that is, our energy is so powerful that we are able to merge to that soul, to help this soul to be enlightened, to help the body to recover the health. So it's so easy. The sick person right here, you can merge. In 1 day, 2 days, and 3 days, and then you can see the result. To see how they are in their body, to see how they are in their personality, to see how their soul can help their body. You know it. Because it is not their own soul. It may be their own soul, but your soul, your powerful energy can help their soul with the strength. So the strength of the soul can help the body to change. In a simple way, that is to change their personality. It is from difficulty to easy, from hot temper, and they can become more tolerant. And in the past, they are always sad, and now they are happy. So that is the change of the environment to help the soul to be enlightened. And the soul is enlightened, that can help the body to be normal, to be happy. That is how I explain for you. In the case as we merge, the result, as we are treating at the root by helping the soul to be enlightened, by helping the body to heal from sickness, that is the reason that we merge, with the condition that your soul have the ability, through your training you are able to, and with this energy that from the deities who allow us, then you can merge to help you. It doesn't mean that we are just saying it. We are saying it in theory, but we put into practice, we see the result. Only in that way, you have the opportunity to contribute to help from 1% to 3%, from 3% to many people in the future. That is my explanation for you. Now, in the case of enlightenment, as you know, enlightenment, what is it? Enlightenment, it doesn't mean that you have magical power. It means that you have full knowledge in order to help the body with knowledge. With all knowledge for the past few days, as well as this morning I mentioned to you. So now if your soul, if you are not enlightened, if your soul cannot guide your body to come here, then the concept of the student who mentioned that mentioned about the soul is trapped under the iceberg, it's not like that. You think your soul is not enlightened, and your soul is not enlightened, so how can it help your body? The whale from the ocean, they just swim really fast ashore. The temperature is just right, 3 or 4 degrees. I tell you, if it increased 30 degrees, they still stay around. They would not have to swim really fast ashore to die. That is enlightenment. Enlightenment meaning the knowledge from the soul, so that the soul with the knowledge will help the body, so we can understand in order to help people. Do not think like in the East, they mentioned that enlightenment meaning you know everything, that you can go to heaven and drink with God, and to have the beautiful fairy angel next to you. Some people still believe in that. Many of these people who, the yogi master, who said that try to train yourself, and so you can become to the heaven, to be drinking with God, and the beautiful fairy ladies come and sing for you. You can sit with God on near the throne. My God, if you reach to the 7th heaven or the 9th heaven, what level, where you can find the wine up there. But they make the story like that, and people listen to it, that including me. I listened to it. When I was young, I didn't know. I just listened. I listened, and I was so glad, and I also feel afraid. I said, when I can go and be close to God and near to the beautiful fairy angels. And we say that the fairy ladies break one of the vase and have to be sent down to marry one of the farmer, and the angel is being sent down to earth and to marry a poor farmer. That is one of the legend, the story from the East. My people, I have a pity for them. They know everything. They only know the wrong things. They seem to know everything, but don't know all the wrong things. That's how I share with you. In the case of enlightenment, meaning our soul have all the knowledge, just like now today, and in the future, in the following days, your soul is highly capable. It would believe in helping those who are incapable. Your higher soul will help your body to reach higher. That is the enlightenment and the wisdom, so that you have full knowledge in order to contribute to help other people. And whether you do it or not is up to you. But the mission of this, as the deity who sent, that needs to help the body, because our body has been chosen by God. And if you do not accept, that is your own business. God gives you all the freedom of choice. Does it mean that God has chosen your body and then forced you to do this and that? The mission God teach you, and I remind you, and it is up to your personal choice if whether you do it or not, or either you go forward or go backwards. Including Master Dang in front of you right here. In the past, I always oppose, because first I feel discouraged because of the culture, tradition, family, society that caused me to feel discouraged. I want to give up. I want to give up 15 years ago already. Each time I want to give up, the deities send me messages and tell me to continue and endure through all of this situation for the past 15 years. I wanted to give up in 1992 already. When my body had transformed into energy to travel out to space, I want to give up already. It's not like others, my God. Now my body and my soul can travel out to space. I have I continue on my journey for fame. No, I want to give up. That is my body. I did not have wisdom enlightenment. Therefore, I want to give up. I feel discouraged and feel sad about life, the tradition, culture, family, society, in this world, all the people around me. So I want to give up since 1992. That was 15 years ago. Gradually, I could not. If I don't want to, I have to do it. And sometimes I wanted, I could not do it. For that reason, the deities guide my body and my soul until now. Today, I teach you. That is how I present to you about the body of Master Dang. Your body is not any exception. Like I mentioned to you yesterday, I said that all the experience in life, in the spiritual path, I learned through. So when I come to the class, I summarize it short and precise, so that you are able to apply. It doesn't mean that you have to learn for a long time, and then you have to do it and research, because Master Dang had learned through all for you already. So when you come to the class, I learned for more than 30 years. You learn only 3 days, 4 days. I summarize everything for you. With everything I learn, I teach you. Then you don't have to learn through like me to follow through, because I have learned all for you already. As I learn through, I transfer it directly into your mind, into your brain, then you know it. Just like the DVD when we copy them. And you copy and you know it. That is the reason I want to share with you through the question about enlightenment. That is the point. It's not that enlightenment that you learn through a book and you know everything. This deity say that deity say that. And in the theory you may know, but you cannot put into practice. The practice is so difficult, it might take your whole lifetime. You might not be able to achieve it. It doesn't mean that you read the book and you research for 30, 40 years and you know everything. But what is the purpose for knowing? To know just to keep in your head? To know who can you help? No, no one. Can you help yourself? No. Then why should you know? It has no meaning. More or less, if you learn to be a physician, you have to work and help the patient. If you say that you learn in medical school and you are the best in the medical school graduate, but you just stay home with your husband and your wife, but the next 3 years everything changed. This drug is changed. You don't learn, you don't know. That's how I share with you on these points. So you know enlightenment meaning. You have all the knowledge in order to contribute to help all the people. That would be the enlightenment. Just like the truth. The truth is to serve people. It doesn't mean that the truth is just like a principle to praise this or praise that or praise that. In theory, those are insignificant. This is not the human. We do not need this. When they are sick, they need help. When they are poor, they need help. When they have difficulty, they need help. That is the truth. This means the truth. Every day you just read in the books the truth from A and the truth from B. That's all theirs. You are learning from them. You're not yours. If you learn for them, it's not yours, so how can you do it? Because it belongs to them. They cannot do it, and they write for you, and you read, and then tell you to do it. You cannot do it. They cannot do it, so how can you do it? That's all. Today, I guide you and I update for you about the truth, about how we can be enlightened. Do not think that these people who research, who reach enlightenment, and they have all the knowledge in the universe. What for? We don't need that. In the human world, where people are suffering, we need to help to reduce the suffering, to help them to have peace, to help them to have health. This is what they need. You don't help, and you sit down here and you talk in the heaven. You say that up there is like this and like that. You don't need this. The deities do not need you to come up there. They need down here. You keep on saying that you learn, so you go up there. Well, who do you live with? They all come down here, and you go up there. Who do you live with? What is the purpose to go up there for? The humans are suffering. You want to go back to heaven. But who do you stay with in heaven? They all come down here. They all come down here to help mankind, and you want to go back there. Who you live with? You said to come to be with the Buddha or God. They said that down here you need, even with the one word, one action. Up there they don't need anything. There's nobody understand this. Nobody know. The books that they just write, all these books, one write and the other write, but they belong to them. And you take theirs and think it is yours, but they cannot do it. How can you do it? You think about it. Today I point out for you about enlightenment and the truth. Master Dang is different than other philosophers, or from the East and the West. Master Dang doesn't teach you like that. If I teach like that, I steal the information from them. So I teach you like this, you think about it and you know it. I teach in a practical one, not abstract, not supposition. I go direct to the point. That is to serve the humankind. That will include your family members, your people, your country, your homeland. Now, from the scientific perspective, I share with you, I'm not a scientist. I confirm that I'm not a scientist. I'm not a medical doctor. You are a doctor, and you research from a medical perspective. I have a pity for you. I tell you the truth. You know why I feel a pity for you? How much have you learned about the human brain? From 14 to 17 billion nerves in the brain. How many have you learned? How many percent that have you learned? That's why I love you. You say that because of the autism, because of genetic or heredity, all this reason. But you do not even know the reason. When it is difficult, you say you pray to God and leave it to God. That is a good thing. Because when you're stuck as a human, the only thing is to yield to God. So in the case of autism, what is it? This is a disorder of the brain. That is a lower form of mental disorder. And the family are still normal. Tradition, culture, family, society, that cause them to have to be autism. That cause them to have a mental shock. That cause them to have a minor mental breakdown. If you know this, you transfer energy, you merge for them, you improve the energy, then their brain is regain the order state. Their brain regain the balance that can control the whole body. Then even if you want them to be autism, they cannot. I have helped many people. I tell you, some of these cases are homosexual. I do not help. I just teach in the class. So automatically they change. So instead of being homosexual, they change to normal. Man loving man or woman loving woman, and they change back to normal. Because the disorder state of the brain, when they regain back the order, then everything is back to normal. When they're in a disorder state, then they don't have the equilibrium. What is the sickness? That is, there's a problem in the nerve in the brain. In the case of flu, they do a blood test, they don't see anything. They go and test all the internal organs, they don't see anything. And they pray to God, and that's all. I share with you one of the incidents because you are the doctor. I went to one of the World Congress in 1994, about 13 years ago. I have a conference that the chairman is one professor of the medical school in England. Each year, malpractice in America, 800,000 people die malpractice because of malpractice. In England and in America, malpractice, they amputate the wrong arm or leg, for example. Instead of cutting the right leg, they're cutting the left leg, for example. They draw the diagram when the doctor was exhausted. So they cut the left leg, cut the wrong one, and then end up cutting the right one, so the person loses 2 legs. And they overwork from 7 at night to 7 in the morning, from 7 p.m. up to 7 a.m. At 4 a.m. when they have an emergency, they feel so tired, exhausted, they do not know what they are doing. Just 12 midnight, in the case my family members is sick, immediately to emergency, instead of giving Tylenol, instead of giving some other medication. What else can they do? In emergency, if we cannot, go to another. Instead of taking at 12 midnight, they were so exhausted, they just give the wrong drugs. And in the morning, the doctor, Teresa is a doctor, my own children with the vaccine. Supposedly the dose for a 6-month infant, and she said that they give the month for the supposed to be for 12 to 18 months, and so they will give the wrong dose. That is doctor, then you know, but for an ordinary people, you would not know what they do, because we do not know. When I see a doctor, whatever they do, and you just and after the shot, suddenly there's some problem with the children. Luckily that between the doctor they know, and also the specialist. I just share with you so you have experience. They always make the drugs only just a little bit of the drug that cause a problem right here. We have a doctor right here close to me, and on that day to put her to sleep. And I said, Teresa, what happened? I said, Teresa, I just need to transfer energy because of then they put in the wrong medication for the surgery. They put you to sleep. Over there, I just transfer energy to help. Therefore, in the field of medicine, I just share with you the experience. I do not want to say whether it is good or bad. In 100%, only 6 that are capable, 6.5 that are capable. In 13 and 6.5, and even if they are good, only 70%, not 100%. That is one of the professor who trained many medical doctors in Europe, in England. In that conference, after he retired, he would dare to say it. If he's still working, he would not reveal the truth. That is a fact. So if you go to a doctor, you go to the hospital, you are lucky if you see a physician who help you with sufficient health. If you have a clear mind, you are lucky. If you are not, if you have a surgery in the morning, if it is the first case, his surgery, after 4 or 5 cases of surgery, by the 6th one, he will feel tired with the mental stress. And a doctor, when they practice, you have to understand for them. Therefore, in the case of a genetic problem or autism or all form of this sickness, we are not the doctor. If you are a doctor, it is better. You know how to use universal energy, that with this universal energy that nurture all the living creature, that nurture all the nerve inside the brain, as we know how to use with transfer energy, so that we can establish the equilibrium of the nerve inside the brain, then that person will be able to recover. That is how I summarize for you. If you are a doctor, a pediatrician for this mother, especially for the women who are pregnant, you are able to help them to deliver easily. And in the case of a problem with the infant, you can transfer energy, you are able to help them to recover. Just like in the case of a mental hospital, in a mental hospital, there are real and false cases. False case meaning the invisible one that cause problem, that you we have the ability, you transfer energy and you're able to solve the false mental problem. The real one, gradually, instead of being there for many years, you transfer energy, perhaps in a few months they are able to recover. When they examine, they know if this is, they find out the person is cured, then they can be out of the hospital instead of being in there for 5 or 7 years, cost the budget for the national, for medical, and cost a lot of money. If that patient is staying there for 5 years, and the person can be going back to normal and working and helping society, in that way you are able to help reducing the budget from the country. With that ability, you are able to help in that sense. And the medical research, I do not have any comments. I mentioned to you yesterday already, in the case of possession from 88 kilogram losing, and 5 minutes later the person was cured. So if you don't believe, you have to, because you say that the person has no problem. And that is a normal person from 86 kilogram down to 28 kilogram. And they said there's no problem because the blood tests don't see anything. That is how they do in medical science from the East. If you cannot find through Western medicine, in the case of possession or black magic, these are the invisible one. In this way or that way, normal medication, perhaps they may help. So from a medical perspective, Western medicine, they contribute a lot for humanity, but Eastern medicine, in some of the cases, they can help so easily. One of the author, who is also a scientist, who traveled to all over the world to visit many countries, and he has asthma. It cost him hundreds of thousands of dollars. He could not find a cure. He go to India. You know how much it cost him? Just 2 ruby. 2 ruby, perhaps about 5-10 cents. And with 2 ruby, and that person just applied black magic, and he was cured. So he wrote the book about wisdom to reveal for the humanity. That person has traveled all over the world. He fly here and there, and in America with asthma, hundreds of thousands, he could find a cure. Just 2 ruby in India, and he find a cure. And that author is one of the famous scientists, and also a person who researched on spiritual and who write the book that I had a chance to read. I share with you. There are many. I just want to share with you a part. So I advise for you, in this world, nobody is high or low, but the most important one is God, who gave us this mission. What is it for? Who do we help? If we know our mission, to who do we help, then we try our best. First, you thank the deities. Second, as they give us the mission, and once we have the mission, then we try our best, whether more or less, we have to try our best to help. Never think that God had chosen our body, God has sent the high soul to us, and then we can boast and look low on people and see people lower than you, and you try to oppress people. This I advise for you, never do it. I know the personality of my students. Many of them are boasting, not just in one continent, but in all 5 continents. They oppress a lot of people. I don't want you to oppress the people, include Master Dang. I don't want to oppress people. So I advise for you, if you have the ability, whether you can help, you help. If not, you just deny it, but never oppress the people. People suffer enough, do not oppress them anymore. That is how I share with you. Through this question from one of the doctor, pediatrician, I hope after this answer, this doctor, perhaps you are able to help the case of these children and help the adult to find a cure. That is how you can find the truth, meaning to serve people. That is how you can get enlightened. So you have all the knowledge in order to help. I answer for you the question about the enlightenment and the truth. Next question.
Okay, Spain.
Dear Master, this is the first part of the question. Dear Master, is there a way for us to contact the higher beings during our dreams to continue learning the spiritual path instead of having erratic dreams, dreams that have no sense, that sometimes make us feel bad? Is there a way to find, to contact the higher beings while we are sleeping? And the second part of the question from this student is, some days ago I understood that we had, only mankind had to reach enlightenment at the same time. But according to the cosmic cycle that has 4 eras, 4 stages, we are now living the era of the suffering, war, materialism. Now it seems that we are in the year 12,000, so it still remains 423,000 years to complete this era of suffering. Master, do we have to wait all this time helping humanity? Thank you, Master.
Now, you do not need to contact. When you have the chakra open 100% at the level 3, your soul, each night you learn from the deities. But your body just lying still. And now, as you are in level 16 and higher, when you are practicing, when you lose all the sensation of your body and your soul come to learn. Your body learn, meaning you are helping billions of souls inside your body in order to protect your body to live long, in order to serve mankind. Therefore, when you learn in level 16, when you close your eyes to practice, your soul automatically go easily, but your body follow your soul, meaning these are the small one, the soul of the cell. You lose all the sensation when they are not close to you. That's why I remind you, when you are in level 16, when you sit, you place your hand on the table, you close your eyes, you lose the arms, you lose the sensation of your head or all your organs. Or where you sit, that is a way that slowly you lose all sensation so you can transform into energy to travel out to space in order to help your soul of the cell inside your body, so that they can improve and be stronger in order to protect your body. That is how I explain for you. Do not think that you learn and you stop, but you do. However, there are some of you are very fortunate that I advise for you and remind you, if it is needed at night when you sleep, you can practice. If you want to have knowledge, you can pray to the Soul Master Dang. The Soul Master Dang directly teach your soul, and your body would realize it in your thought, in your own language. Even though the language of Master Dang is Vietnamese, your own native language I will teach you in your thought, in your own language, so you have full understanding. What is it that you learn for? That is more important. To help people, to serve people, then to evolve on a spiritual path, to help people, then you give yourself 5-10 minutes to close your eye to practice. You pray to the Soul Master Dang, and the Soul Master Dang will talk to you. And if you just close the door, Master Dang cannot enter, the Master Dang will let you go to sleep. And then I will show your soul. The Soul Master Dang will show your soul that in the morning you would know all this information when you need that yesterday you did not know. For example, if you want to know this and that, tonight you want to ask the Soul Master Dang to teach you, but you just close the door, Master Dang cannot teach you, then Master Dang will let you close your eyes and fall asleep. In the morning, suddenly you know. How come yesterday you didn't know? How come the previous day you didn't know? But how come this morning suddenly you know? That knowledge that is from your soul, as you learn from the Soul Master Dang, your soul is teaching your body, reveal to your body to know. to know in that wisdom in order to help people. That is something I can do. I show you. Therefore, when you pray to the Soul Master Áng, do not anticipate that Master Áng come to you. Then you receive the energy in the thought that I will guide you and help you in your thought. That is how I explain for you if you want to. For the deities in the future, it's so easy. It's not so difficult. Just like when you want to pray for the Soul Master Áng, you can pray to the deities that you believe in, especially your religious founder. For those that you worship in the past, you can pray to this being and they would help you. But do not anticipate that they come and teach you in your thought. As you pray, so you know, and they would directly show you in your thought. Or they may help you, like they will say, send this one or that one to come to you and help you, and for sure you know. Because you believe in that, then whatever that one teach you, then you know, you listen carefully. When you want to contact the high being, the technique I have just taught you, then for sure you are able to achieve your goal. Now the cosmic cycle, according to the archaeologists, according to the master, as I received the message, we were influenced for 1,000,000 years. There were so many great floods. These great floods are more or less 1,000,000 years. The one who lost all of the intelligence, that was 200,000 years ago. So now the deities allow us so we can regain back that intelligence. Therefore, those who had the intelligence and the enlightenment, they now come to help our body so that combining with them, we're able to help others in the future in reaching wisdom enlightenment, just like them in the past that we had gone through. For that reason, I had mentioned in the previous years, before the cycle of the 21st century, before the Y2K problem, as I received the message, and I also pray to the deities, I do not want to live and afraid of death. If in the decade of 21st century, if I complete my mission to help the people with wisdom enlightenment, I wait until the 31st of December 2009. If there's nothing happen, no one can get enlightenment, or whether I die or not, I volunteer to die so I can change another body to continue on a journey to help mankind to be enlightened and have wisdom. But I could not imagine that in the beginning of 2007, to prepare for the humankind to have wisdom enlightenment, that recently in July, I organized the level 20, that you have wisdom enlightenment, that I can never imagine that. That is your soul, that truly are enlightened and wisdom. Because your soul has wisdom enlightenment in the level 20, these are the soul want to train your body, even though your body, as God has chosen and given the instruction, but God also give you the freedom. If you want to do it, or if you don't want to do it, there's no problem. God never force you. Even though your soul, you have wisdom enlightenment, there is the soul from those from the first to the fourth human race. But then your body, you deny it, then the deities have to accept it. Because they have promised. They promised they will never go against their promise. If you realize it, that your present soul right now in the level 20 with wisdom enlightenment, and you serve the deities, then you have everything. But if for any reason, directly or indirectly, you do not want to serve, that is your own business. God do not interfere with your body, but for sure you can benefit for, and it is very restricted, very limited. That is how I explain for you, for you to understand. You have infinite wealth that the human lost for millions of years, or recently 200,000 years. Now we are returning back, meaning the people with wisdom enlightenment, the people who can overcome suffering and war, the people can overcome death and live in the short, long span. And the next one, whether you want it or not, it is up to you. That's how I summarize and I share with you, so you can understand and you know. So from a scientific perspective, you research about the cycle, this and that, but I base on a message from the deities who reveal to me. I base on the message of those who research, the archaeologists who share through the books, through the prophecies, through the messages, combining with my learning from the deities. I just share with you this cycle. This is the real one. If not, I volunteer to go first. If you want to live, then you can stay behind. If I could not complete my mission, it doesn't mean that I'm selfish. I want it for myself, but the deities reveal to me so that I can help the mankind, the whole world. But mankind and the whole world cannot do it. It would be the same like 50,000 years ago in Egypt. They could not do it. If this time we fail, then I cannot do much. It doesn't mean I say it and because of my selfishness, I want to be alive and afraid of death. I'm just living each hour at a time, not every day. So for me, death and life is the same. I don't worry about it. That's how I share with you. I hope that through this presentation of this student, as I know that we had suffering in wars in Europe. How many years of wars? I tell you the truth. More or less in the recent 20th century until now. Not more or less. Only 20 centuries. But my country, 50 centuries. You only have 20 centuries of war. From my country, 5,000 years, 4,000 years. Not just 1,000 years like in your case. 4,000 or 5,000 years. My people with 4,000 or 5,000 years of wars. So you can see. There's no country, small country like Vietnam that had to endure for thousands of years of war. That people are trying to dominate and conquer us, but they could not. That's how I share with you on that point so you can understand. This is an experience in the human world that we spend the time and effort to learn to help people, that will include our people, our family. Next question.
We will try checking if they can fix it.
Jonas, do you hear me?
Yes, fantastic.
Okay.
Yay.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Well done.
Hi.
Well done.
You know that Claudia wished to tell you that there's a problem, I think, with Venezuela. So maybe you could try to fix it for the next time, okay?
I guess it's okay now. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Dear Master, in relation to the ice melting and other natural disaster, what would you advise us to do as a joint work for all the youth students in order to help? Are all these disasters related to the changes of the axis of the Earth? Could you tell us your opinion or your point of view about the material meaning of these changes? Yes, Juan Carlos.
Is it only one question, Rosario?
To do one question, if you want, I can give you another one.
Yes.
No. Yes. Well, I have another one here. Okay, dear Master, a student from, you can do it, yours. It's this lady's question, so she will do it for you.
Dear Master, student from Germany asked you in the seminar for Europe in June, who was the chief of the souls? You said that it was the first time that the students had asked something like that. And besides that, could you tell us how many assistants this chief has? In summary, how is the spiritual hierarchy? How does spiritual hierarchy work? Thank you.
Now let me explain for you. In the case of the iceberg, each country, each continent, each ocean, they have the effect. So when you know the region, then you transfer energy to this region first, when you know it. But we cannot help the whole earth or the entire continent So wherever you know it, for example, let's say on region A, when you know about it, whoever know it first, and you can concentrate and you transfer energy to region A. We do not have the ability to help the entire Earth. In the nearest, each day when you learn, depending on your level, to protect your own region where you live first. That is the most practical one that I want to share with you. But if you say that you transfer energy for the iceberg, you do not know, because the North Pole is so large, you don't know where to send. Wherever it comes, when you see it, then you are able to help transfer energy, to help with the air contamination, to help the drinking water, and eventually with the icing melting into the river and the ocean. So all of this toxic, that would cause problem. For that reason, starting from now, we have to prepare salt and sugar and water, so we can store for ourselves to drink the iwi garlic water for preventing illness. All of this case that I have been preparing for you for the past several years. So you are used to drinking the iwi water with the salt and sugar. It has the effect to protect your health. The iwi garlic water to improve your immune in order to fight against the infecting virus that may cause sickness. That is the reason I share with you. But now you do not have the ability to help the entire earth, including Master Dan. I don't have the ability to help the whole earth. That is on the first part answer for you. Now, from my understanding, in the beginning of the year 2007, I share with you, I am a soul, a strange one, that come to the body of Master LUONG MINH. My soul combine and help all of the souls, all of those from the first to the fourth human race that come to this earth, to merge to you, to help mankind. Therefore, my soul has no name, has no assistant, there's no name, so there's no assistant. They're one of the special assistant, that is Master Dan, that let that soul borrow the body, and that soul guide Master Dan wherever it leads. Master Dan follow. Whatever that soul tell Master Dan to do, Master Dan follow. My soul, that is a strange soul from far away. My body living on this earth, I have the ancestor and the unknown soldier to take care. So now I don't have to worry. I only worry each day just to eat a bowl of soup, and that's all. You can see Master Dan may be famous in the morning to eat 2 bucks bread, and I just eat sticky rice, but I feel much better. Just like yesterday, it's not that I'm complaining, but in my whole life, yesterday I only spent $8. You know why? People buy for me the bread and the coffee, and at noon they cook the soup for me. Afterwards, I eat a dish of rice for $8 bucks, and then I go to sleep. So I can be very wealthy. I don't spend much. I do not dare to spend. I only eat $8 bucks, but I keep on giving 80,000 US dollars to give away. But I'm happy. I do not feel sad. I cannot eat much. So instead of do not eat much, I have the money, I give it to others. That is the best, to build a blessing for all of you. That is how I explain for you. We are very fortunate that all of your soul in level 19 here. My soul is always close to your soul, starting from the time from level 19 to the future. If at any moment, in the morning, at night, regardless of any time and space, if you need my soul is ready to support, to help you, to help your body if you need. If you do not need, then there's no problem. It doesn't mean that I force you. When you have the high soul, to help your body to carry out, and then you are forced to pray to me. No, and when you need, then you can request my soul to help. If you do not, then there's no problem. It's not necessary that you have to go and pray to me. As I promised already, when you need, you think of my soul. My soul in a split of a second is right next to your soul, right next to your body, to help your body very easily. Next question.
Hello, Master. Good day. There is a language here on earth consisting of more than 6 billion different words. I'm speaking of the Christian Latinum. Dear Master, can you please explain more about this language? Thank you very much.
From my understanding, in terms of linguistic, you mentioned that about 6 billion words. It's not as much. As you can see in the human world, we have 6 billion people. In many countries, the language with a lot of the terms, also the Chinese. The Chinese with 1.3 billion people, at least, they have 100 dialects, different dialects. Perhaps 500 or 1,000 dialects, but combining all, how can they have 6 billion words? But you need to know that all of the words, whether it's 3 or 6 billion, is not even sufficient to meet the demand for all the world. Nobody has the capacity. In the future, we return back to the stage by the thought wave. You think that they know exactly what you want. Only in a way as you can listen in the thought and communicate by the thought, and you still have selfish, not to mention about the 6 billion words in Latin. 6 billion words like that, you know, it causes a lot of problem. Power, greed, selfishness. That's why it caused chaos all over the world from the past 2,000 years until now. The fact that you research on linguistics, I do not want to say that you are right or wrong, but in fact I have a chance, as I go to Egypt already. Many of these terminology that from Egypt in the past, they can translate according to how they interpret. And they change from 5,000 years to 14,000 years. It is them who make it up. You can see, it is so strange. And then who make all of this language? Who would know how to decipher? Who learn? Except this is may happen, but sometimes the scientists do not believe. Those who wrote or designed this language, and they reincarnate into a person in the 20th century to write down. Do they write according to their own thinking, or is it the thinking of those in the past? Nobody knows. In summary, the human in this world, we are influenced by the scientists. Just like this morning, I mentioned to you, like Albert. So Einstein left many documents nobody would publish, but after his death, 20, 30 years later, they would reveal about his brain, about his belief in religion, about his belief, his thought on religion. Nobody knows. But now, as they share this document, perhaps it has a great impact to the world. How come Albert Einstein did not talk about religion A, B, and C, but he talked about Buddhism? Nobody understands about this. How come they research about his brain that they kept for 30 years, but they did not research in the past? Because the humankind, they all believe in a scientist, whether they say right or wrong. We just based on what they say to learn and research. Besides that, we do not know much, because the human in this world, we keep on thinking the scientists, as they spend the time and effort to learn, so we have to believe in them. The moon and the sun, right or wrong, or black and white, whatever they claim, only saying the earth is round or not, and they got condemned, and then they apologize. Although they condemn, and then when they condemn, and then you just apologize, and that's it. So now, as we live in this world like this, so what do you think? If you know it, then you can just accept the loss, accept to listen. We cannot argue, because you don't have the ability to argue, because they are qualified to say right or wrong. We just listen and just say yes. We cannot say no. In the past, they say you say yes. Others who say no, then they got executed. And now they say yes, You say no, you cannot, you have to say yes. Whether they are right or wrong, you still have to say yes. At this time, I want to share with you so you have a chance to learn and progress. About language, I tell you the truth. It is not enough to help people to have wisdom, enlightenment. They cannot. 5,000 years, the people in Asia in general, that will include my people, according to history, they said 5,000 years, the Chinese, they said that they can use I Ching to control the whole world, but they cannot. 6,000 years ago, the Jewish master, they left behind the Hebrew text to try to help all the humans in the world. But then, this master, they have capacity, they left behind the books, they are capable. They left the Hebrew text, but then the one who read it, can they decipher and understand it? No. If they knew, then now the Jew perhaps can really help the whole world. But they are stuck on one point. That on that one point, about many years ago, about almost 10 years ago, I analyzed, but I don't want to repeat it again. On that point, I know. As I'm a Vietnamese, 6,000 years ago, how do I know what they wrote? Particularly, these are the Hebrew text. Right now, with the Hebrew text, I cannot even know the number one, but I know the secret of this ancient text. That these people, these successors do not know how to apply it. If they do it right, then now perhaps Israel can help the whole world, all over the world. Perhaps the Jew would be the best in the world. But then they lack one point, just one comma in the text. That's why the Jew cannot help the whole world. I don't want to say much about it, because that I had analyzed 9 years ago, more than 9 years ago. That was in February 1998. So that was in the past. I don't want to repeat again. And now you ask about language. I tell you the truth. With everything at the moment, to help human with wisdom, enlightenment, to help human with true peace and prosperity, then we need to learn to help. And others, you can research. It is up to you. But at this point, there is a time the deities want the human to have wisdom, enlightenment. Then we have to follow on that path that God has guided us, so that we can contribute a part. As we contribute, we can benefit. That is how I share for you. And regarding researching this and that we will leave to those who spend the time and their effort to research about linguistic, about tradition, culture, about the race. All of these, for those depending on their mission, they carry out with them. But for us, for me and you right now, with everything that we can do, learn, whether we can help only in a small family, but more or less, we can take care of our family to have wisdom and enlightenment in order to contribute to help these people around us who are linked to us by faith. That is the purpose of the teaching of LUONG that was established since July 20th, 1989 in America. Next question.
Portugal.
Portugal speaking. Good evening, Master. Dear Master, we already know that only man can help man. I would like to know what happens when we don't reach the necessary level of conscience. In that case, can the higher beings give us more time to prevent our self-destruction? Now the question from the second student. Yesterday, Master, you told us about the problems inside your family. Isn't that strange? If Master can't solve those problems, who can? Now the question from the third student. This is a very long question. Why does God, being perfect, live in humans that are not perfect? What is the world and what is God? Can you please talk about DNA, please, Master? When a person faints, Is it possible to receive a new soul higher than the previous one? What happens with our soul when we faint? Does it travel out to space? What's the specific mission of Portugal and the other countries? What revelation did the Virgin Mary make here in Fatima and other places? Will it be necessary the death of animals and plants to feed us when the earth lives in harmony and love? Why is it said that God lives in our heart? Please speak about the heart and the brain, Master. Why is it said that we must have a pure heart but not a pure brain, since the C6 and the C7 are in the brain? Can you elaborate, please? Why is it necessary to place the hands in chakra 6 and chakra 7 for the chakras opening? Almost finishing. Is it necessary to open chakras at 30%, 60% for children between 8 and 12 years old? Can the chakras of very sick people in our family be open at 100% without the teaching of the techniques? Thank you, Master. That's all. Is all clear?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
So through your question, let me answer for you as the means, so you have the chance to learn in order to progress. On the first part, let me answer for you. Now, man can help man. You're right. As I guide you, after 19 levels, to help you with wisdom enlightenment, you help the human to convert the people from bad to good, from evil to good. I do not tell you to help them to turn from good to be evil. That most of us, because of selfishness and personal interest, unintentionally, not intentional, that from evil person to help them to be worse, from a bad person to help them to become bad. That includes Master Dang. I do not want to say about anyone else. Sometimes I say it may offend you, but I say Master Dang, I did it. But I cannot go above God. God gives the human the freedom of choice. If they do not think, that's why I give up, meaning I do not take care of them. I do not take care of them, then they turn to be good. From a good person, I help them and they turn to be evil, and then I don't take care of them and he turn back to good. Who want to follow me to help your family members? Whether you follow me to do it, it is up to you. You don't have to follow Master Dang. You don't say that Master Dang applied like this and you have to follow and do it. Master Dang is different, you are different. Master Dang, God teach differently, and for you, God teach you differently. I don't have any comments. God give you the freedom of choice. It is you to decide. I do not have any opinion. As Master Dang, I don't have any opinion. Because I say you don't listen, so it is up to you. You want them to be good, you want them to be bad, it's up to you. You want them to suffer, you want them to be happy, the decision is up to you and those that you help. I just give you my opinion. You help them just to be suffering just for himself is okay, but never help so that the ancestors, their children, grandchildren, they suffer. That is a pity for those people because they are innocent. I just remind you on that point, and it's up to you. Whatever you do, it is up to your decision. I do not tell you to kill them or hurt them, but to help them from a bad person to become a good person, then you should. But from a good person to become bad, then you should not help them. if you help in that way, it is not anyone who harm you. It is your ancestor who will condemn you, because you are not able to help them, so they discipline you. And if you are not able to, they make you to be mute to see if you can do it. If you want to ask, I answer for you. For that reason, I discipline my nephew, and now he returned back. He's now poor. He cannot go back to a bad way. With money, he go gambling, go to the bars, a reckless lifestyle. So he become bad. Without money, don't give him the money. Then suddenly he just sit there. He want to drink, he just drink water. Then suddenly he turned to be good. Come back to the life 20 years ago, just to take care of the farming. In the beginning, he illiterate. Now, illiterate, but know how to go gambling, know how to go to the bar, do the girls. Now he cannot go to the bar, cannot get drunk, no money. So he knows that the uncle take back the car, so he has no money. Now, 1 cent, nobody, he could use 1 cent to buy wine to drink. So now he become good, and see that now he's so kind, because he has no more money to boast. The wife, both sides of the family, nobody help him. Even those people who sell liquor, or those girls in the past in the bar, they see him and run away. So they will stay away from him. So he has to convert back. That is how I can discipline them. I don't abandon him. I always tell my family to prepare all the food, rice, and prepare for him. Each month is to give enough to eat, otherwise give him too much, he will sell it to buy wine. So 40, just give him 45 after he eat, and then with 5 extra liter he cannot sell, otherwise he would sell it to get drunk. Oh my God, give him 40 liter of rice, and after he eat, he use it to sell. So instead of the rice, I just give him just sufficient for eating. Give them the cheap wine, so he cannot use the cheap rice, so he cannot use it. If you buy them the expensive rice, he would just give it. He would sell it to buy wine. So my way to discipline them is very practical. That way he would not get drunk, because I give them the cheap wine, cheap rice. Do not use buy the expensive one, just the moderate one. So it's just enough. Also in the soy sauce, I give him just enough. Instead of 3,000 per bottle, just buy the cheap one. A vegetable from the farm, you can just get it from the farm. So that's how you can discipline them. My God, he asks 500 and you give 1,000. He asks 1,000, you give 2,000, and he keep on saying that he's suffering. He doesn't have enough money to go bar, and they keep on giving money, and then the soul of the ancestor will discipline you. As you ask, I give you my answer. He said, I cannot help. If you do it like me, then you are able to discipline them. I love to help to convert them to become good. It doesn't mean that I hate them and to leave them to die. No, his wife is sick. I go to the hospital. I paid for the hospital bill. I don't abandon them, because your nephew. How can you abandon them? That's how you can discipline. If you want to, I show you the way. And the important part is your husband and the wife. You have to go together. The husband try to discipline, but the wife give him the money. You don't give 300, but the wife give him 3,000. He keep on saying sometimes they really sweet talk more than the drug addict. They can say that you have to sell your house to give them the money. They can persuade you to sell the house. In Vietnam, they write the letter. Some people who write a very beautiful letter. I myself, when I read the letter that they write, that person is an expert in writing letter. And letter, when I read the letter, I feel for them. They show that they're suffering, poor, but over there they just use it to go get drunk and go to the bar. As you ask, so I share for you. I give you my opinion. When you talk about me, I cannot help. I could not solve. That is my part. And for God created all the living creatures. In a split of a second, this earth can be destroyed. In a split of a second, not even 1 minute. God loved the humankind, want to help the mankind with wisdom, enlightenment, so that we have a chance to migrate to other planet. God gave us the freedom of choice. the ability, because God gave us the ability, the freedom of choice. But in the past, God oppressed us to force us, and now we would not suffer because of the love that God had given to us. God understands the level of the humankind. We are so low, so for that reason, God gave us the freedom of choice to train us. But then to train us, and we think we are better than God. And now, what do you think? And then the culture in Vietnam, they say that the son is better than the father, and it's a blessing for the better for the family. But the family, we are not God. The children do not listen to the father, then for sure they would not be able to be a good person. The things that they know, in fact, at a young age, they are so dumb. You live for 50, 60 years, you are still dumb, and they are just a teenager. How can they be smart? So you can think about it. That is because as God loves and teaches us a different way compared to the human. It doesn't mean that God doesn't know how to teach, discipline the children, but God loves the children, want to help the children to be wisdom, have wisdom and enlightenment. By the time when we are equal to God, we think that we are the master of God, and God will go and hide. God afraid that you die, so that's why God go into hiding. It doesn't mean that God doesn't have the ability. You misunderstand that. But God wants to teach us so that we can become the capable human in order to help God forgive all. So that you yourself, you can change. Otherwise, it is you who condemn yourself, God never. It is you who hurt yourself. It is you who cannot take care of yourself. You who cause suffering to yourself. Nobody else cause suffering to you. Now, let's say you love that girl, and she leave you. Why should you feel heartbroken? She leave you, then why should you feel loyal to her? And if she want to have an affair, even if God come down here, she will have an affair. So God cannot do anything. God cannot convince them. How can you convince them? So it is best to find another lover. God even run away. So how can he said God has to run away? What can you do? So when they want in Vietnam, they say that when they want, even that it will be God want, and he want that he think better than God. So that's why God tell you to stop. Otherwise, whether to stay single, or otherwise you walk to another step. God can see. God run away. So you can see. It is because God love. It's so difficult. So I advise in general for all of you around the world, when it is appropriate, then you stay, otherwise you leave. If you can have an affair, you can have an affair. But when you do not like anymore, and you still have your husband, or you have your wife, then you stay, otherwise you find another. I do not tell you to leave your husband or your wife, but you leave and you keep on causing a problem, quarrel, fighting, and then it's best to leave. And then after you leave and you find another one is worse than that one, so in that way you still die. So you can say, my God, see that this husband is so difficult, we find another one is even worse, or this wife is bad, and find another one is worse. And you think that you go to the monastery. If you go into the monastery, many of them because problem in the monastery or the temple, it is best to follow the path out in society, to wait if the fruit fall down and you can eat. Otherwise, I tell you the truth. So when you talk about Master Dang is so afraid. I tell you, it's not you know what I'm afraid of. If you don't know, I tell you. How do you know about Master Dang? Master Dang is so afraid now. 100 times frowning, not even one laugh, one time smiling. 100 bad, not even one good. Master Dang, I'm always being deceived, so now I'm so afraid. I'm so afraid, meaning I'm afraid that people deceive me. It's not that I'm deceiving others. If I want to deceive people, then nobody can go. I'm afraid that I'm deceiving people, but in fact people deceive me. I'm afraid of deceiving people. I don't say that people follow me and I'm almost dying here. So I do not dare to say anything. I'm just remain silent. I tell you the truth. I know already. I cannot. It's so difficult. Outside, he said, when I say, Master, I have to take care of you, I take care of you, see that you are suffering, my God, I see it. On the first day, the third day, the first month, up to the third month, the first year, the third years, and the fourth year is finished, because there's only 3 dimensions. By the fourth dimension, and I said, no more, Master. Enduring through the third and the fourth, because I'm in a 3-dimensional world, so you can see. So now, I advise for you. So depending on fate and destiny, I will not tell you to leave your husband or your wife or your lover, but you can see when it's needed, you do it. Otherwise, don't do it. I won't tell you to go in or out, but at the moment, there are many things that we have to do. All of this are even more than love among the humans, between the husband, wife, parents, children. This is the infinite love. That is the love of God, who's sent to all over the world. That God give us this mission. Our body has chosen our body and our soul, so we help. This is the highest one, comparing to all form of love. That is not in theory, but in practice, that the deities who teach us. If you recognize this point, then you can reduce in this way or that way. It doesn't mean that I tell you that you cannot love, you cannot stay or what. I just explain for you so you can understand about the life that may create this or that. But there's nothing that is more important than the ability to help your soul to reach the enlightenment and wisdom. That is a path that we are very fortunate that at the final time, we are very fortunate that they merge with us in order to support us to carry out this program. And in terms of the human love and affair, whether you want or you need, it is up to you. I do not have any comments. It is up to your own personal issue. You ask me whether you can or you cannot. It is up to you. I tell you the truth. I just want to share with you about the love unconditional through the way of the light of God's aura, as we are able to use infinitely, so that we can share the love to all the people. That is the highest form of love on earth at the present time, as we have, and we continue to have. Now, in terms of DNA, in the level 20, I had mentioned to a number of you. Now, if you love with the highest love between the husband and the wife, whether you have your own children or the children of your spouse, if you love, then you accept. So, in that way, you don't have to worry. In terms of the DNA in the future, I see there are chaos in terms of the DNA between the husband, the wife, and the children. If you believe in the DNA, when they test your own children, they test the DNA, it may not be the same. I prepared your mind already. Eventually, this chaos will be to the human society due to the fact that the power struggle, selfishness to fight for power, for wealth. For that reason, I told you, if you are in this situation, you have to know that whether it is your own children or if it's your own children, then you love them. And for others issues, don't let them bother you, because the change of the DNA in you, in all of us. Now, there's one real story in my country. One of the person in Vietnam, in the village, never been in the city. After the war in 1975, in 1980, all of the foreigners left Vietnam. The French, the American, meaning that all the foreigners left the country. There's no foreigners inside the country. If they in the city, but here in the village, only know to farming. That's all. The husband and the wife, after 3 years, the 4th year, give birth to a child, total look Caucasian. And you say that this woman married the Caucasian in Vietnam. This person is completely illiterate, who doesn't know any language, only Vietnamese. Working as a farmer, always stay out in a farm to go to the city, never even see the city from the time we get married, never even see the city, and but give birth, the child is totally Caucasian. You say that is it because of the Vietnamese or the American? Now you are a researcher. You say that it is their great grandparent is American. So as you are a scientist, researcher, you can answer for me now. What do you explain about this? Is it the heredity or genetic, or whether they marry American or French, and that her husband is also very dumb. They're only just farmer. You can see the villager in Vietnam, they are very dumb. They don't know anything. I tell you, because when I say about this, I'm sorry, I sometimes they don't even know the true face, and they give birth, and the child look like that. That is a practical one. From a scientific perspective, how do you explain about this? Whose gene is this? Is it from the great grandparents? That is in my village, in my own country. If I give birth, and my God, in my country, they are so poor. They are so poor that beyond your imagination, they just stay in the farm, just eat the vegetable and from the farm. That's all. They don't even have. They just use branch of the tree to make a fire to cook, and they give birth. So what do they eat? What kind of drink? What kind of gene? So for us, we can change the environment. That environment meaning the combined frequency, meaning you are able to help the order state. We can change the DNA inside ourselves. So in the future, I advise for you. First, if you do not believe or you believe, if you do a DNA test and you see a difference, you know it is your own children, you can see it is, even though it is the other children, see it as your own children, because it is your children already. You take care of them, so you can, as you love either the stranger or your family member, so that way you don't have any quarrel or fight. That is better, because you ask, I give you my opinion, I help you. But I believe for sure that you will see the change of the environment, and the DNA will change because of your energy. Each day as you practice, the change in yourself, and as we are prolonging our lifespan. Now, let's say 80 years we die in this world, the highest 130 years. But if the DNA change, you can live to 200 or 300 years, just like the time of Atlantis. Then the DNA has no value. First, you can transform into energy. Your body is transformed and changed. Before you learn, there's nothing. And after you learn, all the DNA, the nerve in the brain, all the soul in the cell change, including your own soul change. Your body can travel out to space and travel here and there. So the DNA, to be appropriate with the DNA out in space, it doesn't mean the DNA of the human nurtured by the materials. That is how I explain for you. So a number of you are not scientists, you know, and a number of you who are scientists, you know about this. These are the change of the environment that the scientists cannot properly research. They could not. As we use the fourth dimension and higher, the scientists, they research only the three-dimensional, so how can they research about you? Therefore, with your mission, you can explain. If you cannot, there's nothing to do. I tell you, the husband and wife and children, just keep in the future, all of you, as you know, the most precious one, that is your soul. And the most precious is the ability to help the soul to be enlightened, and furthermore, you can help your body to have the wisdom all over the world. That will be the highest love. I don't want to say equal to God, but at least that is a path that God had given to us. We can carry out. In a way, we love God as we are serving, and others we do not pay attention to. Now, in the case of fainting, in the future, if you faint, the soul came out, and then when you wake up, the soul come in. If you have the ability, and you know the higher soul, you can let the higher soul to come in. Let's say a person who faint right here, a young person, and that person over here as a good researcher who just died. and he's a scientist, a researcher, or medical doctor, and you bring the soul here and to enter that body, and that soul can go to the light. This you can do. Altogether, you can do it. That person is in a coma, suddenly he wake up and he's highly capable, meaning the soul of the highly capable will go in, and that soul return to the light, and the soul come over here. The body is cremate or bury. This is just something you can do. This I teach you in level 20. Now you cannot do it. I just say to you, but you cannot do it. Now the message of Fatima, as I went to Paris, to the south of France, when I read the message in 1917 from the Virgin Mary, that translated into many languages, that kept in Lourdes, south of France, as they worship Mary. As I came there, I read that message. But then it was written clearly in many languages. And she explained this and that. They print it, but they don't do it. There's one point that I just want to remind you. In the message of the Virgin Mary to warn all over the world, all of the clergy, they lost faith, all the clergy, they do not follow in their religion, they do the wrong things. And to warn these to wake up, a number of them, they return home to follow. They do not want to stay in the monastery. So the Virgin Mary sent a message in 1917, and 60 years ago. The Catholics, now with all of their violation, they have to pay $600 million, as many of these are being violated by the priests. I don't want to say much. That is in America. Recently, they spent $600 million to repay to these victims. That the Virgin Mary had warned ahead, but they did not listen. That's all. I just remind you on that part, but I just want to remind you one part. That is, the Virgin Mary, with her ability, each year millions of people, whether they are Catholic or non-Catholic, they come to Lourdes to thank her for healing them. But her message, who listened? Nobody listened. Even though she had the real ability and send the message, and it is real, but they don't listen. So Buddha knew after 25th century, the humans are declining. Then there will be a chance that we are able to progress. For that reason, Buddha had known. That's why Albert Einstein, who saw that, now he revealed many years ago, but not now. He said, like in 1938 or in 1945. Only now we realize it. So on that, in the future, you will understand. For us to understand more through the question and your presentation, with everything I know, I share with you. That is the fact. The human is so difficult. It's not so simple as we think. Now, the human and all the living creature, as we live with always nutrients. Some people who said that you kill the animals, the pigs, the cows, and it's a sin. But without these people who kill, then how, the human will not live. We will have sickness and we will die. You can see. Now, if, for example, you leave the trees, all of the living creatures to live, let's say underneath the river with all the fishes. If all the fish, you don't eat them, now all the fish in the ocean, or the ducks and the chicken, the cow, you can see, like, for example, in India, I tell you, in India, when they have a war, you don't need any bomb. All you need is just to shoot, and all the cows run. People would die because they see the cow. They just kneel down and they worship. You just use one of the mortar. I tell you, if you are good at night, you just prepare just some of the light. When this cow, when they see just like the fireworks, and all the cows are running, and just by the cows running, people die already. But we cannot do anything. That is the fact. Now, ducks and chickens, you say they eat vegetarian, and birds, especially with all the birds. In the morning, with 1,000 of the birds right in front of your car. Even if you follow the spiritual path, if you're working and all the birds are right there, all of the birds will cause you a problem. The fake birds cause you more problem than the real birds. So what can you do? You said, oh my God, you don't eat them and you just worship them. My God. Not to mention there's so many birds, chicken, ducks, and cows, pigs. They run all over the street. Then with that kind of traffic that causes you a problem, you cannot go to work. Only in the case of people to clean up your with all of the bird trap alone, you don't have enough to people to clean up, so you can see. So God create all living creatures to nurture the humans. If without all of this animal, and now we would not have the intelligence. We don't have enough food, and we are all so thin. Only just to try to find food for the animal, we would die alone. Therefore, because of that issue, I advise for you, in the case of some of the people who kill all these animals, they have a way, as they are able to help people to nurture these people. Without these people who kill all these animals to provide food for us, then how can we become a good person to serve mankind? Nobody knows this. From the East, they say that you kill, you have a sin, because they think of vegetarian. But Orthodox Buddhism, they eat meat. The monk in Thailand, after 700 years until now, if they do not eat meat, then we would not have many of these high monks that they are enlightenment. They eat the meat, all of this meat, ducks, cows, pigs. Now they can be enlightened. If you keep them to eat vegetarian, they could not be able to. At noon, they only eat one meal, and on that one meal, they need to eat fish, the meat, real meat. Then he can follow the path. Otherwise, he'll be so hungry. That is a fact. For that reason, in the case of vegetarian or not, I advise for you, it is more appropriate for your body. You can eat anything you want, vegetarian or meat. Whatever is appropriate to your body, help your body with health, help your body with the capacity, then you can just eat. If you are so weak that you need your health to help your family, to help yourself, then depending on your body, it's not that I'm telling you not to eat vegetarian, but if you feel that the vegetarian is healthy, then or eat meat, so you can have health in order to help your family members. Or if you follow the vegetarian and you feel sick, if you feel thin, it is a pity for you. It is up to you, your decision, whether you eat meat or not. But I advise for you, if you are so weak, then you need to eat something more nutrient. Now, from 8 to 12 years old, for those who are level 20, they don't have to open chakras. They can open chakra 100%. From 8 years old to 12 years old, they don't have to learn. You can open chakra for them. Just place the hand on chakra 6 and 7. The reason I tell you to put on chakra 6 and 7, it is to help them with the energy. When you open the chakra, you place the hand so that they can increase their faith. So when you have a chance, when you sit like this, I have the ability to open chakra 100% to anyone, from a distance, in front, directly or indirectly. They don't even have to place their hand on the chakra. I can still open chakra for them. But then some people, they do not place their hand. They think they do not, and then when after they open and then they place their hand, they're afraid that it's not open. So I understand for you. In the future, we'll have to change in a new way. For the people with wisdom enlightenment, we will change. That I have changed in the level 20 already. All of you who learn the level 20, you don't have to open chakra 30 or 60%. That 18 years ago, Master Dang, when I teach, I had to open chakra 30% and then 60% and then 100%. But now, the student who graduate at level 20, you don't have to open chakra 30 or 60%. You go directly open chakra 100% to all of the people. From the small to the adult people. Because of the change as we reaching higher in our evolution, so you have this ability. Because in the level 20, you know who these are the one with wisdom enlightenment. that first human race on earth. That's why to open chakra 100%, they don't need to open chakra 30 or 60%. Now, for those who are sick, perhaps you are not able to save them, you can open chakra for them 100% easily at a time, as I have decided the time. If you cannot press the hand, you can press the hand on chakra 6 and 7 from 12 to 12:05 New York time, or from 12 to 12:05 in Thailand, 11 or 9, 11 or 1 o'clock in Europe. Then you can help these people who are sick, so they can press the hand on chakra 6 and 7, so that I can open chakra 100% for them. When that body we cannot save, then the soul can go directly to the light, to the deities. So now you get ready. I give you 1 minute to get ready. So now try to get ready. So now we try to practice. Now when we close our eyes to practice, you travel to space. Now begin. It is finished